I was training for a half marathon, and I was running here in Vacaville, and I got to mile 3, and all of a sudden I developed foot drop on my right foot.
My daughter was a freshman in high school, and I knew that I would be in a wheelchair at her graduation.
I couldn't walk, I couldn't do anything to help around the house. I just figured my life was pretty much over.
Their entire life was going to be altered because of my diagnosis.
It was kind of funny, one of the nurses that was in there, he just said, I'm not supposed to say this, he said, but you need to talk to this guy. He lives here locally, and he said he had the stem cell stuff. He had MS like you did. And from what I hear, he's cured.
Never needs to be there. You are the best mom I could ever have. But
Colton, what's it supposed to be? What do you mean shrug? You wrote it.
No, it should be you are the best mom ever. I could never have a better mom. You are the best.
Is that all right, Colton? It sounds, you sound unsure. You wrote it. That's wonderful, Colton.
Thank you.
So sweet. Hi, my name is Jay Blankenfeld. My wife, Amy, was diagnosed with MS in 2017.
Videotaping, Dad let me.
Don't while you run? Or just right now?
Run.
That's gonna be like.
It was a very scary period in our lives because we knew so little about the disease. The doctors were quick to tell us that MS was debilitating and there was no cure. We also learned that people with MS face a lifetime of drugs that have a very low success rate. Then I found something different, a procedure that some call a cure. My goal for this film is to show that there is hope and you are not alone. We will hear the stories of people that had MS, underwent the procedure, and have never had a symptom return. But first, let me explain what MS is and the symptoms that go along with the disease. Multiple sclerosis, MS, is a potentially disabling disease of the brain and spinal cord. In MS, the immune system attacks the protective sheath, myelin, that covers the nerves and causes communication problems between the brain and the rest of the body. Eventually, the disease can cause permanent damage. There are different types of MS, and they are unpredictable. The cause of MS is unknown.
The actual diagnosis of it was in 2009. I was training for a half marathon, and I was running here in Vacaville, and I got to mile 3, and all of a sudden I developed foot drop on my right foot. I knew something was wrong. I stopped, tried to work it out. I thought maybe it was a pinched nerve in my neck from being in the trade for so many years. So I turned around and walked back home. I was on a Saturday morning and woke up Sunday morning, normal day, and I felt fine, took off again, had my iPhone with me, and got to mile 3, exactly mile 3 again, and I developed foot drop again. So now I knew something was wrong. I called my wife, and she came back and picked me up. And Monday morning, we went to the doctor. My doctor was out of town. I got a advice nurse, and she told me it was either MS, muscular dystrophy, or Parkinson's, which I don't know how they can determine that by looking at you, but I was ordered a spinal tap, and within a week, they diagnosed me with MS.
We went to Italy for our honeymoon, and he jokes to this day that he was dragging Sleeping Beauty across Italy. I slept on the plane, on a train, on a bus, on my suitcase. It was terrible. So when we got home, he said, you have to go to the doctor and see what's going on. So they did some blood work, and I was showed up vitamin D deficiency. So another 2 months went by, and then I lost vision in my left eye, and followed up with the doctor on that, and that's when they ordered the MRIs. And it was pretty definitive. Within 2 days, I had a clear-cut diagnosis.
So the diagnosis was pretty
quick. Yeah, I had there was multiple lesions in my brain and cervical and the optic nerve too.
Okay. Beyond the foot drop and what you experienced, what other symptoms did you experience with MS?
Okay, I'll try to remember them all because they've been gone for so long. Fatigue, face pain, weakness in my right leg, cramping in my right leg, restless legs at night in my right leg, numbness in my toes and feet, I did fatigue, just a heat intolerance. I couldn't stand the heat at all. That off the top is all I can remember. I'm sure there's quite a few more.
Right,
and a
right.
foot drop. I would trip all the time. My balance issues, now they're all coming back. Balance issues, foot drop, that stuff.
And I'd say that probably affected you every day, though.
Every single day. When I'd walk down a hallway, because I work in an office now, when I walk down a hallway, I would make sure the wall was on the right side of me, and I would push off the wall as I walked down the hallway.
I was afraid that we would miss out on, memories and experiences, and the kids wouldn't be able to do certain things because I wouldn't be able to join along. So their entire life was going to be altered because of my diagnosis.
Unfortunately for many, it's the same story. For some, it could take months or even years to get a proper diagnosis. And when diagnosed, most doctors offer only a lifetime of drugs that promise very little success. So what are they hiding? And could there be a better option?
When I was diagnosed, the doctor gave me some pamphlets, drug pamphlets, told me to go home and pick one, basically. I went home, I read through them, picked one, insurance denied it. Now I gotta pick another one. Read through them again, pick another one. Insurance doesn't deny it, but won't approve it. It takes right around 3 months or so before they finally say I can have it. I took it for approximately a month and a half. Hated every second of it, hated the way it made me feel.
The medications gave me side effects that I found myself being very dizzy. Again, the fatigue was getting worse and worse. I was starting to sleep 12, 13, 14 hours a day. I couldn't get up. When I would get up, I felt dizzy, and I felt like I was almost like I was poisoned. And Stacy and I talked about it, and I just said, we tried a couple different ones because I told the neurologist that it wasn't working for me, and we decided to. I told her, I said, I don't want to take them anymore.
So you're just gonna go cold turkey and
Yeah.
just see what happens?
Yeah.
And what you knew you were progressing, where did you think this was gonna end up in the state you're in?
By then I knew I was down. I was going down. I had tried all the physical things. I tried all the medicines and stuff, and I couldn't get up anymore. I couldn't walk. I couldn't do anything to help around the house. I just figured my life was pretty much over. And I didn't want to live like this.
Really, for me, the drug of choice that the doctors loved for me was steroids. They started with IV steroids. We went to pills. We went to injections at home of steroids. At one point, the pharmacist wouldn't even fill the prescription because he was like, "There's no way human possibly you should be taking this many steroids." And he said, "What is this? What is it doing to you?" And I looked at him and I said, "Well, look at me. I'm huge. I gained 75 pounds just on the steroids." Wow. And they just kept thinking that was going to improve the eyesight. It was going to improve everything. Meanwhile, the Avonex, I had to get off the Avonex because it shot my liver. enzymes up really high. So then they switched me to Copaxone.
MS drugs, also known as disease-modifying therapies or DMTs, suppress the immune system. They do not stop disease progression, nor do they claim to. But despite their ineffectiveness, the prices climb and climb and climb.
I asked my doctor if I could do something different, and he's a neurologist, and he put me on Tysabri, which made me nervous. Tysabri is the drug that was taken off the market because it caused brain infections and actually killed people. So it was reformulated, and whatever they do to it to make it better, new and improved, right on the side of the box. And so I went on Tysabri, and that's an infusion that you do once a month. And that drug actually costs $10,000 a month.
As you can see, the doctors do not mention this treatment to their patients. Instead, the doctors prescribe drugs that they personally benefit from.
The evidence is actually there. People just don't know where to look sometimes. So it's, for example, you can go to openpaymentsdata.cms.gov and you can literally search doctors by their names. So you just go to this website, you search the doctor by their names, and it'll show you a history of the payments that they've received from the pharmaceutical companies. And you can actually do this by year. So you can search by year different doctors. You can see all the payments made by these companies. And it's when you start digging, you start finding that these doctors are getting paid tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands to promote these drugs.
Jay had been researching HSCT, mentioning it, talking to me about it, trying to convince me to do it. I was still on the fence, not quite sure, but decided to go ahead and apply and see if I would get accepted. I did. They gave me a date 3 months out from the application day, and I said, what the heck? Accepted it and stopped taking drugs that day and haven't been back since.
I think I was talking to one of the nurses one day, and I was in the hospital there, and they came in, and I just said, while I'm in here, I said, you guys are going to fix my MS, aren't you? And it was kind of funny. One of the nurses that was in there, he said, I'm not supposed to say this. He said, but you need to talk to this guy. He lives here locally, and he said he had the stem cell stuff. He had MS like you did. And from what I hear, he's cured. And Stacy got wind of it and ended up talking to the guy and got this guy's name locally here. His name's Steve Apperson. And we ended up contacting Steve, and he was cool enough to come and meet with us and sat down and told me all about Russia and what happened and how that he had gone over there. I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago, and he had the RMS, but he went through the process and how cool it was, and it was just amazing on how he thought that's the way America should have been. And
You discovered this treatment, and I guess you went to your neurologist.
Yes.
All right. And what'd your neurologist say about it?
My neurologist, along with most of them, disagreed with the treatment, with mine, well, with any of them, because they're all in another country. Going to a foreign country, he let me know that I could die. He didn't understand the protocol, the chemo, what the hospital was like, the safety factors. He went through the list of things with me that he was really worried about. And like I've mentioned to many people, I legitimately think it was out of love, but I think he was uneducated.
Okay. Unfortunately, this is not a problem limited to doctors. The community surrounding the disease is filled with corruption. The goal too often is money, and the cost is people's lives. So the next question is HSCT safe? Especially since the MS Society is not touting this procedure. And to answer that, we travel around the world to where this procedure is more commonly practiced.
Land in Russia. Well, my first thought was when you get off the plane, how in the world am I going to figure out where baggage claim is, because all their words are like 28 letters long and the R's are backwards and there's an apple and everything else in it. So I'm trying to figure out where is baggage claim. Well, I've forgotten that English is the international language. So underneath it, everything's in English with arrows. So it was very easy to find. So once I go to baggage claim, Alexei was his name. I was waiting there with my name on a sign, and he introduced himself. English was good. Takes me to baggage claim, gets my bag, takes me to his car, and heads off. Then he takes you to the hotel, which is actually a Best Western. It's a Best Western Convention Center. Next morning, went downstairs, and on a piece of paper I had the name of the hospital in Russian. So I just gave it to the taxi driver, and he drove me. The check-in process, I mean, Dr. Fedorenko right off the bat will come right in and greet you and sit on the bed and give you an entrance interview along with an exit interview in the end. He sat down on the bed and told me everything they were going to do, every test they were going to do, and you spend one day, they call the day of rest, so you're resting for a day. After the day of rest, next morning, you go through 13 tests, and this is what really gets me. 13 tests they do, and I can't remember them all. CAT scan, MRI, x-rays of your chest, deep vein thrombosis, hearing test, sight. It just goes on and on and on. There's 13 of them, pulmonary. So they do all those tests, and you get the answers the next day. If you did that in the United States, it takes 6 to 8 months to get all that information, but it's the next day they have all the information. And just to show you how they were on their testing, they check your eyes, and my left eye, they kept coming in. They brought 3 Russian doctors in. Anastasia, she stands with you the whole time, translating. But they came in and they kept looking at my left eye, and in your mind thinking I'm going to be disqualified, something's wrong with my eye. Because with MS, you can lose your sight. So that made me a little nervous, so I asked Anastasia, what are they talking about? And she goes, hang on a minute. Looked and looked and looked, and they walked away, and the doctor came in and spoke English and said, you're developing cataracts in your left eye. That's all it was. Wow. And they were so concerned with that. It was nothing to do with MS. It's just at that time I was 54 years old and I'm developing cataracts. So that's all it was. And looking back, I remember my eye doctor telling me I was developing cataracts. So they nailed it. Yeah. So anyway, after you go through all your testing, that's when the fun begins. This is where they're going to be pulling the stem cells out, and all my blood be coming out of my body and then back in my body, and then the stem cells are collected in a bag, and then the bag's taken away. Stem cells are harvested, frozen, and then they'll come back and chemo and kill my broken immune system. And after they kill my broken immune system, that's when they come back, and there is some space in between all of this. They'll come back and put my new stem cells in, and let it marinate. And I'm in isolation and for 10 days, and all my numbers are going to come crashing down, and my immune system starts rebuilding. All my numbers come back up, and as soon as I hit all my peak numbers, then I'm out of isolation. The blood is being pumped out of me, and I'm going to try to hold the camera so you can see where it's going, because I can't get up, I can't move. It's going into there, I don't know if you can see it. That's the machine.
the bags in the front. There should be 2 bags in the front.
That's the blood being sucked out of my body. They're now giving me chemo. They're killing my broken immune system. Yes. So I get my new immune system and MS will be gone. So I'm really excited about this. So I got to lay here for about 3 hours and I got to pee like every 13 minutes. So it's a non-stop, pee non-stop. I need a plant in here. You know how men are. All we need is a plant. And that's all we need, or a coffee can. But anyway, I'm on my way, killing its immune system.
Hematopoietic stem cell transplant, or HSCT, works by erasing the body's immune system memory using chemotherapy. This particular procedure is autologous, meaning they use your own stem cells which are collected, stored, and returned after chemo. The chemo wipes out or resets the immune system, which stops the underlying MS disease activity. The goal of HSCT is to stop disease progression.
It's STEMI day. To knock these STEMIs out. Thank you. Thank you very much.
As tradition to
Throw the bucket.
All in all, the whole process was pretty cool, pretty easy. I mean, there was nothing painful, there was nothing. I think your brain messes with you more just because you think it's going to be more than it is, but realistically, it was painless, and it was a great environment. You got people there that were there that in the same position, and you're supporting each other, and I've got some great new friends now, international friends, but
HSCT has allowed me to stay active, to be with my family, and run and ride bike and swim, just like before I was diagnosed with MS.
I definitely believe that my MS was cured. I do have the damage left. That's what is still hard. Like if I get tired, sick, the symptoms will come back. But that to me doesn't mean that it wasn't cured. That means that these old nerves just pop up still sometimes.
To anyone considering HSCT, I say do it now, don't wait. The sooner you get it done, the sooner you get to start to heal and get your life back.
So what now? If you have MS or know someone with MS, I urge you to do your own research and take control of your health. Ask your doctors about this procedure, but do not let them scare you away. There are many out there willing to help, and all you have to do is ask.
My name is Ron Gabrielli. I'm from Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. I was diagnosed with relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis on December the 11th, 2015. We found HSCT with Dr. Reese in 2017 in April, 16 months after I was diagnosed. All those symptoms I have are gone. The treatment and care we received was absolutely incredible.
Okay, Anthony Ramirez, post HSCT reboot, December 12th, 2016. It is now May 26th, 2020. This is more than what he did the video a year ago.
He would say, I'm happy that I went for HSCT because I can't say that I never tried. I wanted to halt my progression predominantly for my son, so that he could have a life without having to care for his mum any more than he already does do. So I want others to know about HSCT.
I learned about HSCT from my own rheumatologist after he heard a presentation by Dr. Burt. I had the procedure done in Chicago at Northwestern in 2006. I would just say that HCST literally saved my life. I was in the hospital monthly before it, and after the seizure, my life turned around 180 degrees.